Welcome back, everybody, to Two Fat Guys at Skivvies.
That bathroom ski bar.
Shiggity want my shwata.
Shiggity schwa.
Yeah, we're back. Stanley Parable, third episode. We last ended it because we had taken a path. We had gone down the escape route. We had started doing all this exploring. It looked like it was very end game Easter eggy, and then this narrator was a different narrator. Female narrator was implying that we were like us and the narrator were like going at each other, and the only way we could survive is if we shut off the switch.
So I closed the game and then I put it in sleep mode.
John did it, and
hopefully that's what I had to do.
And here we are. We've turned it back on, and you can see it's asking us for the time again. So we have no idea what's going to happen, and that's why we're back, so you can experience it with us.
Yeah, let's see where we're going with this. Hang on.
Jazzy's riveted.
Hang on. Before we get started, can I just say something? Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you've booted up the game. A lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock at 12 and call it a day. But you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I don't even have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see the screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whichever time you want, even if it's not the correct time. You've earned it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. Oh my god. Such goofiness.
Oh man. Now, how many people the next time that happens set the time to 4:12?
You mean 4:20?
4:20.
Must have been.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do 4:20. I'm going to do 6:69. No, that doesn't work. I'll have to do 7:09.
Okay.
Alright, you ready?
Yeah, let's see what happens.
The end is never.
See what happens.
It's never at the end. It's never at the end. End over, end over, end over. Massachusetts.
I know it makes sense now. The end is never. The end is never.
Yeah.
That does.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
We're back at the
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee
I didn't reset
number
it.
427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed
That's weird,
buttons
right?
on
It is weird, but I just got to be
Orders came him
patient
through
because
a
you never
laptop
know.
on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment as the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay, so nothing's changed.
All right, nothing has changed. So far. But I'm very suspicious.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Now, the next thing would be going downstairs for the boss instead of up to his office.
Yet there was not a single
that.
person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense.
We're looping.
And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
It's a loop.
For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Wow.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Wow.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Wow.
What the fuck? I mean,
Okay.
wow.
Okay.
All right, well, fair enough. That was only 10 minutes to the death.
So, yeah, I guess
Going down is good.
going down at the stairs,
Not a good idea.
definitely.
Yeah.
But I like how, you know,
Yeah.
the game allows you to make certain choices until a point
All of
where
his co-workers were gone.
you
What could it
realize,
mean?
okay, I know not
Stanley
to do that.
decided to go to
Yeah.
the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So what's nothing before the boss? Like,
Yeah, so I would say at this
Start
point
disobeying.
we've learned, right? Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think at this point we've
Oh.
learned. Oh,
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
what the hell?
okay. So everything is
What?
okay. I was just gonna say it sounds like the first choice is we follow the left and then we go upstairs, and you know what I mean. There's still some things we haven't.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable.
Oh, this must be the
Ultra
DLC
Deluxe.
stuff.
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere? Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content,
It's kind of
Stanley.
a Stewie Griffin vibe.
Yes.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
You just want to see what happens when you run out of jumps. Wow. You can't jump.
Nice. Awesome.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
I bet you they got a lot of
Another
complaints. If you
elevator.
couldn't jump.
Stanley, I have
That's why
to
they put that
say,
there.
initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
That was funny. I liked that.
Okay, all right.
That was cool. Okay, so we're going to skip that. If it's even still there. What? Well, that's different, is it not? What the hell?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Okay.
What happened?
I mean, clearly something we did opened up
Yeah.
something else.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap Nintendo Switch port? Remember back in October of
Which we're getting
2013 when
Yeah.
the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
I do like when games do this, though.
Yeah.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created.
He's
That's
supposed to be
how
for
grand
reviews, right?
and all-encompassing
put it
the
past him.
original Stanley Parable was.
I mean,
It was
I
literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
yeah, I mean, I would believe that that's all actual
It's gotta be.
accolades and actual
Yeah.
reviews, and that's what seemed to be. I mean, the fact that they're commenting on,
Yeah.
the Switch port, which we're playing on, and
Right.
all that stuff. It's very clever. I like when games do stuff like
Here's
that.
another moving passage. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the Nintendo Switch. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
A serious room.
What the hell? I can go back where it came from. Is this right back where it came from?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley
Pressurized
parable,
Gas
but the game is already such a densely
Steam.
layered web of profound
That was a Steam
philosophical
review.
insights that I can't even imagine
That's awesome.
where I'd have the room to stick them.
Oh, that's funny.
Online storefront for online games. Oh my god,
Oh,
it's
that's
Steam.
funny. That's funny.
Oh my goodness, what's going on?
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Is that it?
Well, you haven't been here before.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it seems like
They closed the door behind you. so
yeah,
it's
like
always...
once you've explored an area, it's kind of like okay, he'll talk for a bit. When
Yeah.
he stops talking, it's time to like move on,
What's this
find a
one
new
got to
area.
say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and
my
lengthy
God.
ruminations on the nature of... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their... Okay, Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes. It's not unendurable by any means, but well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was.
I think you gotta press it. I think you gotta.
Just ram your... Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's complete... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through.
Yeah.
I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year.
Oh,
have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing.
Jeez.
He's gone. And the button's not lighting back up. Oh, there we go. It's nothing to skip, right?
I mean, it's just a clock. Was the clock always on the wall?
Yeah. Where the heck's the beacon coming from? Must be the button?
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said,
Oh, God.
There's still no way out, though.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Fuck. This is weird.
I mean,
Oh! Oh, wow.
oh, wow. I mean, just think
I mean,
for a
it's
second
exponential.
that, well, no, and again, this is the way I'm taking this, is that genuinely somebody wrote, probably Cookie 9 or whatever that was, like, you know, blah, 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 there should be a skip button. And so
This is what they did.
this is their response
So the skip button.
to the comment in a review that there should be a skip button.
Agreed, yeah.
I mean, really, if you think about it, it's pretty fucking hilarious.
Oh, it's great. And it's a giant FU to Cookie
It
9.
really is. It's like, I mean, when you just think about it, like, this is...
Yeah.
Yeah. this is what they did. You want a skip button? Here you go. Like,
Wait, there's
it's
a lot
kind of
there.
funny.
Can't pick it. Oh my god, I still can't get out. What the hell is happening? I mean, it's just gonna get. The Earth is rebuilding itself. That's how long it's been.
It's like literally.
Wait. Oh, that's not. Yeah, the Earth is rebuilding itself. Now it's not anymore.
You have to keep skipping until you're somehow going to have a way, or it's
Or
gonna
it's
restart.
going to end.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the nuclear war is coming.
You're like, what is that?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, this was in his memory zone. He's gone now. Right? What the hell? It's gone. It's done for.
It's wild.
This is crazy.
It really is. It's wild.
So crazy. Oh my god, do I just wander forever?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Oh.
it's definitely gonna do that at some point.
That was crazy.
Is, I mean,
Yeah,
that's wild.
that was wild.
It really was. I mean, it seems just like what is going on, but really, that's funny. That's clever.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
It's a good place to stop.
It is.
Yeah, that's this is an interesting game.
For sure.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I hope everybody's enjoying it. I guess a little different style game for us. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of fascinated by it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I am definitely fascinated by it. So, this is cool shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
All right.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you again.
Bye. I did it again. I did it
You
again.
do that a lot.
Bye.
Bye.